Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the doll maker. As you guessed from the title of the video, today we will continue with our series all about the planets, and we will talk about Mercury. Now, as always, please do remember we will not take into consideration every single possible correspondence of Mercury. We will take into consideration those ones that, at least in my experience, will give you a better feel, a better sensation of the sphere of energy of Mercury. So, let's start with communication. Communication in the sphere of Mercury is about commerce, is about connections, and it's about contextual communications and about better understanding the context in which we communicate. Also, training our skill in communication to maximize the results that we reach and the result of our communication, because we are creatures of communication. So we need to also be careful about the informations that we feed to ourselves and what information and what kind of communication we do not want to feed ourselves, because the results of what we learn, it's a deep inner transformation. Talking about transformation, the second correspondence we will take into consideration is travel. So we can work with Mercury to gain protection in our travels, in our journeys. But also, through this correspondence, we can work with Mercury to give speed to our operations, especially if we call upon Mercury as a secondary correspondence, as a second planet. But getting back to the correspondence of travel, travel is talking us about adaptation and gaining the skill to adapt ourselves to a context. Because of course, travel could also refer to path walking, so inner transformation and initiation, which is at the same time the end of a path, the end of a journey. It's an inner transformation, but also is the beginning of a new path, of a new journey. So, a change in viewpoints after we have performed a journey, a travel, and is also representative of transition, especially inner transition. Now, the third main correspondence of Mercury will be healing. So, of course, through Mercury we find clear correspondences, clear relations to alchemy, especially if we observe some of the images of the god Mercury, which almost always holds the caduceus. So we can count on Mercury for any healing operation. Healing is a transitioning back to health. Also, it's through the protection in travel, we can count on Mercury for healing to avoid downfalls back to being unhealthy. Of course, we can count on Mercury also for mental health, avoiding downward spirals, avoiding inner negative communication, and our spiritual health, because of course our spiritual health is dependent on our path walking, on actually making this spiritual journey, which is a transformation of the self. Now, the teaching of Mercury is, of course, knowledge. So, acquiring knowledge and acquiring the meaning, acquiring the means that we need to achieve knowledge through communication, but also leaving a legacy and understanding others' legacy through books, diaries, and through oral traditions in many ways. We may even say that the teaching of knowledge is a cure for ignorance, is healing the mind. So, knowledge allows us to better analyze and to better understand our surroundings and to better communicate with them. As always, we will take in consideration an object best representative of this planet, which is the book. So, Mercury is suggesting us to study, to better ourselves, to understand history and to understand our history, to better understand ourselves and to better understand others and the culture of others, other cultures, which of course leads to better communicate with others in other contexts, and in turn to better comprehend and to better integrate in other cultures and in other contexts, or in the culture of others. So, please do remind to keep and review diaries and grimoires to better understand yourself and to learn how to better communicate your knowledge. As always, we will take into consideration two personality traits, two archetypes. One is Mercury as this best expression, and the other is Mercury on his dark side. So, for the positive archetype, we will take into consideration the healer, and for the negative one, we will take into consideration the blackmailer. Now, the healer is always ready for action, while the blackmailer is trying to induce a reaction into others. The healer is always ready to act fast, while the blackmailer is waiting for a reaction. The healer is communicating to understand the problems of others, while the blackmailer is communicating to create traps for others. The healer is a solver through action. The blackmailer is waiting for his or her opponent's reaction. The healer is respected for knowledge, for his or her knowledge, while the blackmailer is feared for his or her communication. So, to get the gist of it, the healer is relevant, is necessary, while the blackmailer must be avoided and isolated. Now, as always, we will get through a few direct, straight correspondences. So, the color for Mercury will be orange, or in some cases multicolor, just like a rainbow, for example. The day of the week related to Mercury will be Wednesday. The card in a tarot deck related to Mercury is the Magician, and the metal, either alchemically or physically, best related to Mercury is, as you guessed, Mercury. From a zodiacal standpoint, during the day, Mercury is best represented in the sign of Gemini, while during the night on the sign of Virgo. In my personal experience, if you want to work with crystals for Mercury, you can work with agates, opal, and aventurine. While if you want to talk about plants, some of the plants related to the planets of Mercury, we can work with nutmeg, lavender, palo santo, wisteria, dill, mulberry, fennel, hazelnut, mullein, bayberry, cinquefoil, yarrow, fenugreek, and celery. Now, I hope this video has given you a better feel, a better understanding of the sensation, of the energy of this planet. I hope I will see you in the next video. As always, I deeply thank you for your kind attention, and may eternal light shine upon you.